Welcome, everyone, and thank you for attending GreenPath Financial Wellness Webinar, Back to School, preparing you for the upcoming school year. GreenPath is a trusted national nonprofit housing and financial credit counseling agency with the mission of empowering people to lead financially healthy lives. We started as an organization in 1961 in Michigan, and we've grown into a nationwide financial wellness organization. We counsel in all 50 states as well as Puerto Rico, and we believe that financial education is something that we should all continue to engage with, regardless of how much we already know. There is always something that we can learn to help maintain or improve our financial wellness. Today, we want to talk about the topic, getting back to school, preparing you for the upcoming school year. And I'm joined by Shamika. Take a moment to introduce yourself. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Shamika Joseph, and I am a learning experience designer here at GreenPath. I have been at GreenPath for about 6 years now, and I'm excited to be with everyone today. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. While we are enjoying our summer vacation and hopefully we're having lots of fun, we do know that back to school time is around the corner. And we know that planning for the upcoming school year can get a bit stressful as well as expensive. And today we want to share some tips for reducing your education costs from pre-K all the way to college. We will cover tips for saving on school supplies, reducing school fees and expenses, and lastly, we will wrap up with talking about covering some tips for reducing your college expenses as well. So starting this new school year is always exciting. With a new school year comes new opportunities. So whether you're starting or returning to college or your little one is entering into a new grade, we want you to be as prepared as possible. Having the right supplies is essential for starting the school year, but it does not have to break the bank. First, I will be sharing some tips on reducing your school supply expenses. So before you start shopping, it is always a good idea to take inventory of all of the items that you already have. You may find that you have items from last year that are perfectly fine to be reused again. Your child's school may have also given you a list of school supplies needed for purchase, or it may also be available on the school's website. Take notice of all of the items that you have already before you begin repurchasing. Next, you want to set a budget. Setting a budget for your back to school shopping is always going to be a great idea. Having a set amount of funds that you dedicate to shopping will encourage you to stick to that amount without spending over or without not keeping track. To determine your shopping budget, take note of the funds that you have available and subtract any priority upcoming expenses that you already have. Whatever is left over can be your starting point for your shopping budget. You can always increase your budget if you have more funds available, but try to stick to your budget as much as possible to avoid overspending. Once you have determined your budget, consider using cash for your purchases instead of your cards. With using cash for your purchases, you can keep track of your spending easier and making sure your spending is within your budget limits. If you do opt for using cards for purchases instead, be sure to pay extra attention to your spending and your budget. Now, once you have determined what your budget is and have determined your shopping list, identify what the must-haves are and what are the items that you can skip. While some items may be absolutely more important, some items you can definitely skip. When you do begin your shopping, consider sticking to more generic items, as typically a lot of cartoon characters or branded items typically have more expenses. When you're doing your shopping, you can start with online searches for student discounts. So a lot of large retailers have student discounts for, or even sometimes for teachers as well too, where you'll be able to enter your student ID or your student email account and you'll receive a small discount on your purchases. While these discounts do typically apply to college students, some retailers may honor K through 12 student discounts as well. In addition, you can also check coupon-specific websites such as Retail Me Not or Coupon Cabins for coupons for a variety of online retailers. Coupons are definitely a great way to save extra money. Also, check out apps for stores that you shop at frequently. Mobile apps such as Walmart Mobile or Target Circle typically have coupons and exclusive deals that you'll find on the apps specifically. Compare prices when you shop online. You don't have to limit yourself to just one store. Another way to save on back to school shopping is to get thrifty. Thrift shopping is a great way to get the essentials you need while saving on costs. A lot more recently, online thrifting has become increasingly popular. Facebook Marketplace has many items that you can find locally to you, including lots of school supplies. Also check Facebook to see if your neighborhood has a buy nothing group. Buy nothing groups are typically local to you where people are offering items that they're no longer using for free or potentially looking for items to trade. Keeping your eye out for back to school time, as these groups may be filled with supplies, swaps, or donations. If you're looking for low cost supplies but might not have the time or the patience for thrifting, dollar stores are also a great way to save on supplies. Also, check out teacher supply stores or websites, and you might be able to get a discount on certain items as well. Discount stores such as Five Below or similar stores are also great for finding supplies on a budget. Another way to save on back to school shopping is to take advantage of the tax-free holidays in your state. So tax-free days are designated by your state, and it's where sales tax is suspended on certain items. Tax-free days and the items that are tax-free are determined by your state. Some states will do tax-free days on certain items, and a lot of the times it's specifically back to school items. You can search your state's tax-free holiday information online or visit your state's Department of Taxation website for more details. So now that we have covered school supplies, we're going to shift gears and discuss saving on school and education expenses. If you have little ones who are pre-K age, you may have been looking into preschools and have noticed that preschools have high monthly costs. One way to save on preschool costs is to potentially volunteer for your child's school. By volunteering, you'll be able to give some of your time and save on some of the costs. Contact your preschool for more information. Additionally, some states do offer Head Start programs. So Head Start programs offer free preschool for lower income families. So I am based here in Michigan, and we have the Great State Readiness Program, which offers free pre-K to eligible 4-year-olds whose families are at or below 400% of the poverty level. So contact your state's websites for more information regarding Head Starts and other free pre-K programs. If you have older children or children who may be transitioning out of pre-K, you may have been deciding what school to enroll your child in further for education. Of course, there is public schools, which depend on where you live for enrollment. However, you do have other options as well. Charter schools are an alternative to public schools as they are public funded as well. However, they are under specific contracts or charters as opposed to state curriculum. Charter schools can provide more flexibility for parents who are looking for an alternative to public schools, but who may not necessarily want to pay tuition or cannot afford to pay tuition. Charter schools may also offer flexibility for schools outside of your local district. If you are interested in private schools, however, but are concerned about the costs, there are definitely some ways that you can reduce those costs. So first, depending on your state, you may be able to get a school voucher to help with private education costs. School vouchers are government-funded scholarships that can be used towards private education. Not every state has a state voucher program, however, so be sure to check with your state as well as the school you're interested for school voucher information. If your state does not offer school vouchers, you may be able to apply for scholarships. The school that you are interested in may offer their own private scholarships, as well as consider an online search for any scholarships that may be available as well. And if you are already enrolled into schools, but for the upcoming year, but maybe considering private schools in the future, consider a 529 plan is a savings account that is used specifically for K through 12 or also for higher education costs. 529 plans allow you to allocate savings specifically for education costs with no income tax on the funds that are placed into the 529 plans. So 529 plans can be used for tuition and any other qualifying education costs, but they must be used for education costs specifically only. Contact your financial institution for more information on opening up a 529. And if you or your child are thinking about higher education, be sure to apply for FAFSA as soon as possible. So while the deadline for this year's application has passed, applications for the 2025 and 2026 school year are available currently and will be available until June 3rd. The free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA, is the application that will provide you with any student aid that you may qualify for. FAFSA can include grants, student loans, work studies programs, or a different combination of different aids. We will discuss higher education details in a little bit more detail later. Reducing college expenses. So shifting gears once more, are now going to discuss higher education and reducing college costs for your child or even for yourself. So with the increasing cost of higher education, it's not something that you want to take lightly. You want your child to be as prepared as possible and have a really solid plan going in. It's a good idea to take some time to create a college plan if you haven't already. So this plan can include determining how many credits you plan on taking, what major or what career your child would like to have in the future, as well as any additional schools that they may be considering. Are they planning to stay in state, or do they possibly have their eyes on an out-of-state university? Make note of all of these factors when you are creating your college plan. So after you have created your college plan, it's time to start working towards it. So depending on your child's desired career, they may be able to seek internships for high school students or apprenticeships or even work experience programs. So this will give your child experience and exposure to the career that they may want to pursue in the future. And with that, that can help them determine if they want to pursue this in higher education. Also, depending on the internship, they may be able to get college credit, which can also help lower the cost of tuition. Another great way to get ahead on tuition savings is to consider AP classes. So advanced placement classes will allow your child to receive college credit for completing the course while they are in high school. These AP class credits can go towards any university or community college, which is going to give them a head start on college savings. If your child's school does not offer any AP courses, they may be able to take advantage of the College Level Examination Program, or CLEP. So CLEP allows your child to take an exam on certain introductory college course subjects, and they will be able to receive college credit in exchange. The typical CLEP exam is about $95, which is definitely significantly cheaper than college tuition. However, keep in mind that schools do have certain policies regarding CLEP, and not all schools do accept CLEP exams. Visit clep.collegeboard.org for more information, and we will have these websites and resources for you at the end of the presentation. Another great way to lower higher education costs is to consider community college first and then transferring to university after. So community colleges typically have lower education costs and are a great way to complete the first 2 years of general education classes that universities typically require, and at a lot lower of a cost than at 4-year universities. And while FAFSA may be able to provide you with student aid, sometimes it may not always be enough to cover tuition costs. So consider applying for grants and scholarships as first places to look for aids instead of student loans. So grants and scholarships do not need to be paid back, whereas student loans will require repayment post-graduation. There are many scholarships from public and private companies that can be used for higher education. However, they do require applications. So starting early and starting searching ahead for scholarships to apply for. If your child has a school advisor, they may be able to provide them with grant and scholarship opportunities as well. Also, reach out to the university that you are interested in, as they may also be able to assist with scholarships as well. Did you know that the average cost of room and board is almost $13,000? That can be very expensive. If your senior plans on attending a 4-year university, it is certainly important to learn about the cost of room and board prior to making your decision. If your senior does decide to live on campus, be aware of the cost of the dorm that they are staying in, as well as any required meal plans for food. Many universities do require freshmen to live on campus, and some universities require campus living for the first 2 years. To save on costs, consider having a roommate, as single occupancy dorms do typically come with higher costs. As well as for meal plans, many universities do offer different amounts based on the meals per day. So be sure to select a meal plan that you are sure you can use. Sometimes having the highest amount isn't the most beneficial. A lot of unused meals do end up going to waste while you still end up paying for that total amount up front. If your university does not require campus living, consider living off campus to help reduce some of those costs. Many universities have apartments that are close to campus, and discuss off campus living with your senior and let them know the pros and the cons. While they may be able to save overall on food and housing expenses, they may be required to sign a lease as well as pay monthly rent. They will have to purchase all of their food and groceries as meal plans are not provided, but also they can consider having a roommate to help split with costs as well. If you and your senior are considering this option, please be sure to have a plan created and make sure that they are aware of all of the responsibilities that come with living off campus on their own. Another campus cost to consider is the cost of parking and transportation. While having a car on campus may sound like a good idea in theory, definitely consider how much they plan on using it. So often universities are quite walkable, so there is not necessarily a need to drive between buildings to get to class. Also, if there are any classes that may be off-site, a lot of universities do have their own bus or shuttle system between campus. Having a car may be convenient, but consider the parking costs. So many universities require a parking pass be purchased on campus, or there may be metered parking. If a parking pass is purchased and is required, if a parking pass is required but not purchased, they may be subjected to lots of parking tickets, which are definitely no fun. You want to discuss the pros and cons of having a car on campus. Some things to ask before making your decision is how far is housing to campus? Do they plan on coming home for holiday breaks, and how do they plan on getting home? Can they reliably use public transportation? Do they have, or are they planning on having an off-campus job that requires a commute? All of those are questions to consider when deciding to bring your car or not. Alrighty, so we have covered a lot of information today, and I hope you leave today's presentation feeling better prepared for the upcoming school year. To close us out, I want to leave us with a few key reminders. Start early. The sooner that you can plan shopping and planning for the upcoming school year, the better. Applying for scholarships, applying for vouchers, as soon as you can, definitely the better. Create a plan that can help guide you through the future. So having a solid plan, whether it is planning for charter schools or private schools, or what college exams you plan on taking, having a plan is definitely the key to success. Have a great school year. And as mentioned, these are the links to the resources that I mentioned previously.
You might like a second set of eyes on your budget or any other questions about your resources, anything that we reviewed today in preparation for the school year, please reach out to GreenPath Financial Wellness. GreenPath is a nonprofit organization that partners with credit unions and banks across the country to provide financial counseling and education. The call to GreenPath is free and confidential to anyone who calls. Again, we can take a look at your budget. We can help you to review your credit report and score. We can talk about your questions about rent, mortgage, or home buyer counseling. We can talk about options for dealing with debt. And maybe you already have student loans or you're thinking about getting student loans. We can help prepare you to review any of those options as well. We can take a look at any of your financial goals and help you to create an action plan to move forward to meet your financial goals. Another quick reminder here, grab your phones. This is where we have a few QR codes for you to scan at each of the following screens. If you wish to find more resources, you can take a look at my.greenpath.com, or you can scan the QR code that you see on the screen. GreenPath provides several different workshops or guides that may be helpful to get started, like aligning your priorities or a budgeting worksheet. We will share both of these items with all people who registered for today's webinar, or again, you can find them on my.greenpath.com. I will share a couple of links in the chat as well for these two particular resources if you might like to grab those and get started right now with these guides. Additional resources that we have if you might be interested in. We do have several digital online courses, again, for free. There's no cost and they're available 24/7 by checking out GreenPath's Learning Lab One course that may be of note for you to take note of today is making the most of your money. This might be a great place for you to start. Again, this is free and confidential, and it's a resource that you may like to check out. You can find us at my.greenpath.com, or you can scan the QR code that you see online now. Another course that may be relevant for our topic today is, again, aligning priorities. This is an online digital course. This may help you decide which expenses are most important for you and which expenses are most important for you to put within your budget. We have several upcoming live webinars at my.greenpath website. In the upcoming webinar here, your financial wellness checkup, review, adjust, and succeed. You could register for this live webinar coming up by scanning the QR code or finding it again at my.greenpath.com. You can give us a call at 818-67, and we can help answer your specific questions about your specific situation for free. It's a confidential call at no cost, and you can call us anytime. We appreciate you for joining us today. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you at another GreenPath webinar or talking to you on the phone soon. Have a great day, everybody.